Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for another edition of Anchors Away. Time flies. Speaking of time, that's going to be the topic of a commentary coming up on KRK, so keep your eye open for that. Today we're going to talk about a couple of things. What happened? We're going to talk about a power outage, knocked KRK off the air for a while. We're going to talk about the controversy around the Oscars, and then Christmas lights. Some people say, where are they? Other people say, I have hung so many, I can't hang any more. And we're going to get into something that Keith's got supporting that. But joining us now, Ashley, Mallory, and Keith. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Hello.
Been a busy week?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, they're
We're all trying to come up from
tired
there.
they can't even.
Christmas is 2 weeks from today.
I can't believe
so
it.
it's
talk about time
so
flying.
so much to do. A lot going on.
What we want to talk about, though, we know that over the weekend we had a weather event. Wasn't necessarily like an ice storm, but it was. It left some ice.
It did.
And it brought with it some problems for our transmitter. It knocked us off the air for a while. And it was also, the secondary problem was we had ice all over the tower.
big chunks of ice.
Yeah, just be thankful that the freezing line stayed near the top of Chenal Mountain. I know it was inconvenient for folks, didn't get to watch the Cowboys. A lot of stations knocked off the air, including KERK, some radio stations. 200 feet from the top of Chenal and higher up through the tower levels, it was below freezing for a large part of when it was raining down here in central Arkansas.
There's our tower.
This is the aftermath. A little bit of a flex in the tower knocked all that ice off. Now, the ice you see falling, the size of footballs.
It looks like little crystals, but those are chunks of man-killing ice.
Yeah, in fact, one of our engineers had parked his vehicle up there. He was trying to get power back on, and he had a lot of damage to his truck because it was hit by that ice. Now, I had some close-up pictures the engineer showed me. That ice accumulated up to about 4 inches on the guy wires and the tower itself. Wow. I'll tell you what, that was like a catastrophic ice storm up there on the mountain. Yeah. And it took trees down, it took the power lines down that supplied those transmitters
and then
on top.
Falling ice made it difficult for the crews to get in there to work on the transmitter. But
safety, especially.
Yeah,
in fact, you know, today it's Tuesday afternoon after 2 o'clock, and they're still having trouble getting up there because that ice was so thick on the towers that it's still taking time to melt, and it's still falling off, and it still presents a danger to the Entergy crews and to our engineers trying to go up there. Something like that falling from those towers, which are 1,000, 1,200 feet tall, that'll kill you in an instant.
But I have to say, too, it was impressive the amount of phone calls we got in the newsroom. I wasn't here over the weekend, but the crew that was over here over the weekend said they got a lot of calls. They were trying to answer as many questions as they possibly could. And we know that you guys were extremely patient, so we appreciate that.
Well, some people weren't.
Well, I didn't want to get into that.
Well,
the majority of people were understanding, the majority, but there were a few that...
It's completely out of our control.
Yes.
I mean,
when
just to
it's
be
cold,
honest.
you want to watch TV, you want to watch KRK.
Well, yeah,
I understand
especially,
that.
boy, the Cowboys game.
And the Cowboys.
Yeah, that throws a whole other dynamic.
And
Just to be honest, you're calling the TV newsroom. Don't you think that we know we're off the air?
We're aware.
We're aware, and believe me, they're going to get it fixed as soon as possible because the boss in the front office wants those commercials to run. All right, so it's not like we don't know. You know, we know that those signals are off the air.
It's been interesting to hear what the most popular shows are based on call volume during the time of day. Yesterday, we went off the air around 12:30 during our noon show. A few people called. At 1 o'clock, Days of Our Lives started, and we were still knocked off for a lot of people.
Well, Days of Our Lives,
boy,
you get torches and pitchforks.
Dialing for dollars, Days of Our Lives.
Yes, I know, boy.
And to top it off, right now, we have a microwave truck sitting on 6th Street that's sending a signal up to another station's microwave dish. It goes back to that TV station here in town, and then goes back out to Chenal. And then the engineers had to run a wire with the signal across the street up on top of the mountain back to our transmitter. So those guys work really hard. Some of those guys working 28, 30 hours.
You probably will never see an engineer on air, but I got to tell you, you know, every minute I've spent in the television industry can nothing but thank the engineers for keeping these places.
You've always said that. You've always been a big fan.
They work tirelessly around the clock. They're always back there making sure that this happens, and you can't thank engineering crew enough because a lot of times too we break things, we bring it back there, fix this, you know, and it's not like they don't have enough stuff to worry about, but they fix it and they get back in our hands so we can do our
Wonderful.
job. So big thanks to all the engineers, and a big thanks to our competitor down the street for helping us out as well.
Isn't that nice?
So,
Don't
yeah.
you love people stepping up? Also want to note, I feel like a lot of our Kansans learned, and I learned this a few years ago as well, whenever our station posted that the problems were happening on Chenal Mountain, a lot of people
the
chimed
controversy.
in. You know, Chenal, Shinall, is that correct?
Right.
But
The
people said,
mountain
don't
is
you mean
spelled-
Chenal, like Chenal Parkway, but
Yeah.
it is actually Chenal. And I think, and when people would realize, they'd go, oh, whoops, you know, I thought I was giving everyone a spelling
That's
lesson, but
learn something new, yeah, because
you
Chenal
learn
Parkway is spelled differently than Chenal Mountain.
It's like Washita County in Arkansas
Ouachita?
is spelled Washita out in Oklahoma with the W. So
I didn't know that.
Nevada, El Dorado,
Well,
El Dorado.
if it's
Tomato,
Arkansas,
tomato.
how come the other state's not called Kansas?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's all it's all relative.
You know, the state of
That's a good
Kansas.
point.
Yeah.
But again, thanks to our friends at THV for helping us get our signal out there.
Isn't that nice?
That was
Even though
great.
there are transmitters on our tower.
It's all co-opetition. It's co-opetition. It's co-opetition.
Co-opetition.
Moving on now to the Oscars. This week, Kevin Hart was named. He's a comedian. He was named as the host of the Oscars. That's always been kind of a point of contention for the Oscar producer, trying to get somebody who was at least half as good as Billy Crystal was, because when he took over the Oscars, well, he did a great job. Kevin Hart was named. I think Kevin Hart's one of the funniest guys I've seen out there. Shortly after he was named, someone brought up some tweets that he had sent out in the past, homophobic tweets, and then all of a sudden the controversy begins. And he decides that, and there he is. I mean, if you get a chance, some of his stuff is a little, you know, could be R-rated, but he's funny. And he's a craftsman at what he does. But he decided, you know what, I'm going to step down and just get out of the fray here and let this happen. These were tweets that I sent out, and whether they were comedic or not, you know, which is unfortunate, because I was actually looking forward to watching him on the Oscars. He stepped down. Another thing, too, happened. Kyler Murray gets the Heisman Trophy, outstanding young athlete. And then with almost, I think, an hour, someone brings up some tweets that he had. Here's him playing, fantastic quarterback. They bring up some tweets that he sent out when he was 14. And then all of a sudden, you know, there's controversy around that. This young man, this student athlete, gets the Heisman Trophy. I mean, an outstanding honor, a role model, and then all of a sudden he's taking flack for something that happened when he was 14. You know, Keith, we talk about this.
Why do you always say Keith when it
Because
comes
I like
to
to bring you in
controversial
this,
issues?
this way we
He
kind of.
is the wisest among us.
the wise
I
I'm the
believe.
oldest. I'm
You're the wise guy.
Yeah.
But you know, we always say, kids, be careful, because whatever you put on the internet is going to be there forever.
Right.
But on the same token, whoever's policing this, whoever decides to make controversy out of this, hold on.
Yeah.
You know, it seems, you know, you get both ways, but you know, it's there. Is it unfair? The criticism unfair?
Yes, it is. I mean, two lessons here. Number one, whatever you put online, on the internet, on the World Wide Web, stays there forever. Having said that, lighten up, people. I mean, you know what? I'm Irish and Polish. Do you know what it was like growing up in the 70s? With
Yeah.
all the jokes? Oh my gosh.
You
There
brought
was
that up
always
the other day,
there was always a dumb Polak, a drunk Irishman, and an Italian, and all the jokes, and I grew up okay. Because it's all fun. We need to take ourselves less serious. I'm talking to everybody out there. Just enjoy life. Now, I'm not saying don't be mean. You know, if it's a mean post and you're disparaging people unfairly or just doing it mean-spirited, I mean, that's different than just something that was joked about a decade ago.
If you're
mean,
online
come
being
on,
a bully, something like that, well, then that's going to come
The
back.
old glass house thing. You want us to start digging stuff up on you?
No.
You know, I don't think anybody could stand up to the scrutiny that they do to some people. And Kevin Hart's an example, because there was two other people, and I was reading an article on this, that he's not in their clique. They've said terrible things on Twitter, but he's not friends with them.
Yes.
And he gets
Someone
attacked,
mentioned
but
that
they
to me.
don't. If you want to throw stones, you make sure that, you know, your glass house is perfect. And
Yeah.
I don't think there's a person out there that can say they're perfect. I certainly can't. Believe me, I just walk around the newsroom. I'm an HR nightmare around here. You know? But I respect people.
Right.
We have a nice time. We make work fun. Just don't take stuff so serious unless it requires it.
What do you guys think?
Just hope that someday we will all stop digging and trying to find something wrong. You will a lot of times find something wrong if you're looking for it. And I just don't know when we started always trying to find something, and something that this man accomplished, that this college athlete accomplished, and all of a sudden let's find what he's done wrong. Let's highlight it. We know, I mean, don't say those things. First of all, don't say them. Don't say those things, and that solves all the problems. Second of all, don't go looking for what people have done wrong. Don't go looking for the bad in people. Yeah. It's just a pretty miserable way to live. You know, you'll be much happier if you look for the good in people. And I hope that this gets better. Yeah. I hope it does.
It takes so much energy to be angry and offended all the time. My goodness, I mean, life is life. People haven't changed. We're not, I don't know if we're any more enlightened than we were 10,000 years ago. There's always going to be buttholes out there, and there's always going to be good people. So just try to do the right thing. I've said that before. Try to do the right thing and stop being so angry and offended. My goodness.
And both of those arenas are meant to entertain us, sports and comedy. And it's just, it's sad when those things now take the back seat and all you remember about these people are exactly what was posted online.
People can also change. I've changed over my past few decades on what I believed. Things I did when I was in the military, things I investigated, it's different today. Well, I'll just say, I go back a number of decades. I won't say how many. I mean, we used to investigate people who were homosexual in the military. And look how we've changed over time and how people have changed over time. Where now it's more accepted, it's more understood, If somebody went back and looked at some of the investigations that we did back in the day, of course there was a risk at that time of coercion. If the Soviet agent had discovered somebody was homosexual or gay, they can use that to blackmail them to provide intelligence information. But times have changed and people change. So don't judge people on what happened 20, 30 years ago. It's not like they're mass murderers. My goodness. I mean, I'm sorry. I'd get off of my soap chair.
Talk about being offended. A high school, performing arts high school in New York, putting on a production of The Sound of Music. And we've all seen that several times. And I believe it was the principal or someone at that school was offended because in the production of The Sound of Music, they have a portion, because it's obviously has to do with Nazi occupation, Nazi flags are part of the props, and they say we want to get rid of those because they're offended by them.
That's not the story anymore.
And if you've seen this, I've seen the production of The Sound of Music in a theater, and that is a very impressive part of it. When they have the Nazi soldiers come out and you see these flags, I mean, it brings to the forefront, okay, what this is really about and what this family is trying to escape from. So you get it. But they're not being used to promote.
No. History's painful, but history can't be erased.
And this is a play. Yeah. This is The Sound of Music. Yes. You're going, the
story going in. It's like being mad at Mary Poppins if she used the wrong color umbrella.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
And what is this? People are upset too about Christmas songs that now have
Baby, it's cold outside.
Innuendos in them.
Gosh.
Baby, it's cold outside.
That song was fine since the 40s. What happened?
Well, then they brought up, there was controversy surrounding Rudolph because, Rudolph's dad was a bully, and
Wait, is that real?
Yes,
really?
Yes, because they're saying, "Oh my God!"
We could go on all day.
They were ashamed of. I know, and it was like, "You've got to be kidding!" In that conversation, I was like, "I'm not even going to listen to that." Dean Martin's daughter, by the way, said that her dad would be spinning in his grave had someone said, "You can't sing, Baby, It's Cold Outside." And she's going to keep singing. Anyway.
Oh man.
Now we're on the topic of Christmas. We'll lighten things up a little bit. Talking to some people out there, they say, they haven't seen that many Christmas lights in the neighborhoods around Little Rock. I've seen, I live outside outside of Little Rock in Hot Spring County. I see a lot of Christmas lights out there when I drive home. Some people say that maybe there's not that big of a participation this year. I don't know. You guys seen a lot of Christmas lights?
Are we just worn out from?
No,
I put mine up. Christmas is over.
Good for you.
I put mine up last weekend, and weather has been a factor. We had several weekends. I mean, folks that work Monday through Friday.
I like how you can always bring it back to the weather.
Bring it back to the weather. And I put mine up, and you know, and also we had that extra week because Thanksgiving was a little bit early this year. It's the earliest it could ever be, the 22nd or 23rd, whatever it was. But we had that extra week between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, you know, maybe folks kind of saying, oh, you know, we have an extra week, so maybe they're putting it off. This weekend, Bob, Ashley, Mallory, the weather's going to be fine. If you haven't put up your lights yet,
I will
put them up.
I've been putting my lights up since after Thanksgiving. Remember that cold, windy day?
Yes.
I started hanging them then. I got blown up a ladder.
Good for you.
But we're still in the process of getting them done.
Style.
Oh, we love Christmas lights.
And
I love it.
But we still have
that
more, we still have
rolls
more
it
to do.
all back to Chief Key's Holiday House.
Oh, that's right.
Driven by Red River Dodge, a $250 gift card going out to the best decorated house. And all you have to do is send your entry in to KERK.com/holiday-house, I think it is. Or just go to the KERK.com contest page.
You'll find it.
$250, and on the 20th of December, we are going to go live from that winning holiday house, no matter where it is in Arkansas. And we are going to do a live broadcast for the weather. We'll meet with the family, maybe pick up some hot chocolate and cookies, and we'll
Most
just kind of hang
importantly,
out.
deliver the cash, right?
And deliver well, it's not cash, you know, for security reasons.
Right,
you
gift
know,
cards.
I don't have a huge entourage protecting me, so it's a gift card.
Is Tim Burr in Sherwood, is he exempt
Is he
from that?
eligible?
I don't know. I mean, he would have to send in his entry.
It would have to be a satellite photo.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I think when the space shuttle was still up there, there
Go
were
to
several
Sherwood and
near
see
misses.
Tim Burr's house. This guy's house is just
Hundreds
it
of
glows.
Just
inflatable.
look for the lights. You don't even need the address.
It projects heat.
I always want to know what his energy bill is like after
don't know.
December. There's
I don't
no
know.
telling.
You know, because he has decorations that are so old, they're not the new LEDs.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's a
I
good
was
point.
live there a couple of times, and there was no way to get a good shot from that location because there are so many. I had climbed a tree in one of the live shots to try to get a down view to talk about it, and
I wish we had a
we need
picture
to
of it,
get
but-
the Chopper 4 up there.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to get a view of his house. But there's a lot of great houses there. A lot of folks are doing a lot of fun
You know,
stuff.
and on that note, when we used to use helicopter quite often when I first got here, and we would fly to stories back and forth, and then we'd do it at night. And you know, the wintertime, December, if we were flying at night, it was always neat to fly over and then look at all the Christmas lights. You know, because we would fly from Northwest down here, and you look at the Christmas lights all over the place. I mean, that was always kind of a cool thing. Always nice to see that throughout the countryside.
It's a neat view.
Well, on that note, guys, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us for Anchors Away. Certainly hope your news is good news. We'll see you next time.